The NBA playoffs start April 16th, and with the play-in games, there are now 20 teams vying for the NBA championship. The 2022 playoffs give you up to 9 weeks of action, with game number 1 of the NBA Finals not even tipping off until June 2nd. Last year, the NBA playoff package was listed for $249, but we've made it even better this year by lowering the entire 9-week playoff package to $199. While the early bird catches the worm may be a cliche, but it holds true to this incredible offer. The first 99 customers can use the coupon code FIRST99 and save an additional $50 off the playoff package, dropping the price down to $149. That's right, 9 weeks of NBA action for $149. That's under $17 per week. Act fast to use code FIRST99, as only the first 99 customers can use this code.
Welcome, everybody, to WagerTalk Today. This guy wearing the WagerTalk hoodie is Lawrence Pressman. That guy in the beautiful blazer is Teddy Covers. We got a big show today, Teddy. Merril joining us right off the bat. Steve Merril, he's looking at the baseball, Astros and Diamondbacks, Blue Jays and Yankees. Tony Finn coming on. He's looking at the Seattle Mariners, Chicago White Sox game, and of course, Charlotte and Atlanta. Art DiCesare, we're going to talk a lot of NBA with him, baseball, NHL, etc. Teddy, I got stuff to talk about, but first I want to say hello, and how are you feeling, and what did you learn in the wonderful world of sports betting last night?
So, I do this show. I do NBA Talk with Jay Money. I do the NBA Tip-Off Show. I do other shows. And on every one of these shows, over the course of the last month, I'm like, be ready to bet unders when the postseason starts. These high totals aren't going to work in the playoffs. Be ready. So last night, what I do, I played the side. Both sides came down right down to the wire. Final possession ATS game. I was on the wrong end of one with the Clips. They had their chances, but didn't get there. You had the Cavs Nets. It was the same story. You can't tell me it was a right side in either of those games. But when it came to the total, the unders both cashed, both easy right side. Don't be fooled by the Nets Cavs. Only stayed under by 4 points. They scored 21 points between them in the last minute and 5 seconds. You know, under bettors never had to sweat that entire game, but you're sweating sides. So I'm not going to make that mistake again tonight or this weekend. I'll tell you that. There are money to be made right now betting NBA unders. We got a big. Prez?
Well, I got to talk about some other stuff, but we got a big total up tonight, Teddy, in the Charlotte Atlanta game. I think Tony's going to look at that later on in the show. Couple of quick business stuff to take care of. First off, an absolute massive shout out to Dave Koken. Came on the show yesterday at a 5% baseball play. Had a monster sales day, Teddy. I mean, absolutely high-level, world-class, gigantic sales day. Cashed the ticket. Way to go, Dave Koken. That's number one. Number two, Teddy, we had a person tweet out, Chris Roberts. Shout out to Chris. Cashing out. He's at the cash register at a sports book. He put a video up. Thank you to WagerTalk. He cashed out a ticket, $28,680 for Chris, and he shouted the team out. I don't know what he bet. He probably bet my Minnesota play last night in the NBA, but shout out to Chris for putting that up. And also, shout out to this guy. I don't know his name. I had it earlier, but we had a guy bet all three of my daily presidential plays last night, all three of them, and he cashed his ticket as well. And his name is Kevin Landry Jr. He bet Minnesota Wild, Dallas Stars plus 1.5. Okay, Keith, I told you Dallas on the money line. You took my three winners and you lowered the odds. And the Canucks at plus 115. He still won that ticket. Way to go. I love waking up, Teddy, to this kind of stuff. But nothing is more frustrating than winning all 3 of your daily presidential address plays and losing your client play. I had the Nashville Predators last night. I'm positive you didn't watch it. They outshot San Jose Sharks 40-20, give or take. They had 4 goalposts. They had a goal called back due to an offside, and they just couldn't get it done in regulation. But I'm still seeing hockey great because I won all 3 of my daily presidential address plays. So that's it, dude. Shout out to those 2 guys. Any of you guys who win money betting Teddy or me or Steve or anybody at Wager Talk, tweet it out, man. We really appreciate the stuff. Teddy, it's the stuff that means the most to me, when these guys do that. So I don't know how you feel about it, but it gives me a lot of, and the Jewish word is nachas. Nachas.
So what's the expression? Happy wife, happy life, happy clients, happy life. I mean, there's a truth to that as well. Nothing but really appreciate all the positive feedback. And I'm with you. There's nothing that makes you feel, for as much as I enjoy winning a bet and my bankroll growing, when you get the kudos from the clients, it does bring a lot to the table. It really does. It makes you feel good about what you do.
Yeah, that's for sure, man. Somebody asked me, and I did puck time today. Somebody asked me if I'd sold my Bitcoin. Hell no is the answer to that. I'm holding, baby. Speaking of Bitcoin, Steve Merril joining us. Steve, I know you play in the markets. Should people hold or sell their Bitcoin and Ethereum?
I've said for about half a year now, it's in a trading range. It went from 10 to 20 to 60 and then back down to 30. But I still think 30 is that long-term floor. It's at 40 today, I think. I think it's kind of in a no man's land. It's going to continue to hover between that 30 to 50 range. But I definitely wouldn't unload. I think, 3, 4, 5 years from now, it's definitely higher.
Yeah, but we're totally on the exact same page. Dude, thanks for hosting for me on Monday. I had a doctor's appointment I couldn't get out of. I'm getting old. We got to go to the doctors when we're getting old. So I greatly appreciate it, man. Anyway, let's get to it, dude. MLB, Astros. I was on them last night at -1.5. They won 2-1, did not cash. One thing I learned, the night before I was on the under in the San Fran game. Didn't cash. It cashed last night. Take to the bank that Houston wins by 2 tonight, Steve. How do we bet this game?
Well, I'm with you, Prez. That's the only way I would play this game. And it's not necessarily a play on Houston. It's just a pure play against Arizona for me each and every day whenever possible. I used this actually as my free play on the baseball show yesterday. MLB first pitch, 1:45 Eastern every day here on Wager Talk TV. And I did mention if you wanted to get that price down from -155, you could take the run line -1.5, -105. So it did bite some people that took the run line. But Houston found a way to win. They scored in the top of the ninth and lackluster 2-1 win. But what I pointed out on the show yesterday, for those that didn't catch it, I'm going to point out again here, and that's that Arizona is a terrible team, especially offensively. And let's put things in perspective. They play in one of the more hitter-friendly parks in the National League, one of the higher-scoring parks in Chase Field, and they're still a terrible offensive team. Just 4 hits, 1 run last night at home. In fact, they have played all 5 games at home this season, and despite being in a semi-hitter-friendly park, they're still dead last, batting 130 out of all 30 baseball teams this year. This is a team that tied the Orioles with just 52 wins last year for the worst record in baseball. Theoretically, they were the worst team, though, because if you look at expected win-loss, Orioles were 62-100, D-backs were 61-101. I don't see it getting any better this year. And, yes, you have to lay juice with these games, but the Arizona Diamondbacks are going to lose 90 to 100 games plus this year. And we're only laying $1.55 last night. And now it's a little bit of a shorter price today, about $1.55 again. Even see $1.50, so shop around. I have no problem playing Arizona whenever it's a modest price. And even with Merrill Kelly, my namesake on the mound today, we'll fade the D-backs again with the Houston Astros.
So you talked about Arizona's offensive issues early in the season, and they've been very real. There's a reason why the D-backs have only one win this year, and even that one wasn't necessarily a right side. But it's not like Houston's been hitting the ball very well either. They've scored 4 or less in 4 of their 5 games. They're a dead nuts under machine. In fact, these two teams have both formed one of the under in their first 5 ball games. Does that concern you here when you talk about laying a price with the Astros on the road, when you talk about maybe taking Houston on the run line, asking them to win by more than 1 run, when you talk about an offense that is not yet in midseason form?
Yeah, and it's a good point about the run line, Teddy. And one thing I mentioned yesterday when I said you could look at the run line, whenever you have a road favorite, it's a little safer because you don't have to worry about that walk-off bottom of the 9th 1-run win. Home teams obviously win by 1 exactly a lot more than road teams. But you bring up a good point about low-scoring games. That does make the extra run more valuable. And as Prez said, that bit him last night in a 2-1 game. You're right. Houston has scored 4 or less in 4 of their 5 games. On the season, they're only batting .228 as a team. But I think it's a little misleading because if you look, they've had 7 hits or more in 3 of those 5 games. They've had 8 hits or more in 3 of the 5, 7 or more in 4 of the 5. In fact, the first 2 games out of the gate at LA, they had 22 hits, 16 runs. So they have cooled off since then. But I still think there's plenty of offensive potential, and there's only one way to play this. It's Houston. You do kind of have to decide if you want to get the price down or not. I'd prefer to lay the $1.55 like last night because the low-scoring game does make the -1.5 a little more dicey.
Steve Merril joining us, exclusive handicapper at WagerTalk.com. One of the best there is. Before we get into the Blue Jay Yankees game, what do you got to promote?
Yeah, Teddy brought up a great point about the unders in the NBA games. I was on Gabe Morency's show late last night on Sports Grid, and we were talking about it, and both those totals have come down 3 and 5 points, 3 and 6 points in the 2 games today, Prez, like you said. So NBA playoffs are a different beast than the regular season. With that said, though, over my 25 years, if I had to pick one sport to handicap on a desert island for 2 months, it'd be the NBA playoffs. Systematically, it works year after year, the same situational analysis, the same bounce back strategies. I won't say zigzag. That's a trigger word for Teddy because he knows that doesn't work anymore. But the bounce back, the selective zigzag is what I like to use. And it's worked. It's honestly worked since the mid-90s when I started. Last year in April is when I went on this monster spread run. I'm at 109 and 75 spread run, over 102 units the last 12 months since last April on the NBA sides alone. Number 1 in MLB totals last year. So consider an all-sports subscription right now. Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com.
Steve, this game fascinates me. We got Boreas against Cole. Boreas with an absolutely horrific start to the season. I don't think he made it out of the first inning. Obviously, Garrett Cole, one of the best pitchers in all of baseball. But, I'm going to make this statement right now. If ever I can get Toronto at plus 150, I don't care who they're playing. I don't care who's on the mound, especially coming off of a game where their bats were silent. I like Toronto's the play here, man. Talk me in or out of it.
Yeah, I'm not going to talk you out of that. And, one thing I do look at is when you have decent pitchers off a terrible showing, they often bounce back, right? I talked about the NBA playoffs. I always look for good teams. That selective zigzag, by the way, is good teams to bounce back in the NBA playoffs. And Garrett Cole, by the way, Prez, is coming off a really bad outing as well. He only went 4 innings at a 6.8 ERA in that premiere. So, these are 2 good offensive, or at least the Blue Jays are a very good offensive team. They've been a bit cold as well. We talk about the Astros not hitting. Blue Jays have cooled off here the past few games. They put up just 3 runs total, but they've had 25 hits their last 3 games still and just 9 runs. So I think this is still a dangerous offense. The pitchers might bounce back, so that gets me a little worried about the over. But Garrett Cole, I think, is a guy to keep an eye on. I did the videos last year about the sticky stuff in mid-June, when they started cracking down on it. And Garrett Cole was at the top of my list of guys to watch, like guys who I thought were benefiting more than others from the sticky stuff. And he definitely dropped off in the second half of the season. He had some good outings, but he had some really bad ones. And overall, he was subpar. And now with that bad showing last week in his first start of the season, a 6.8 ERA going just 4 innings, I definitely do not want to lay a big price here with Garrett Cole. And I think you're right. It is a bounce-back spot for Toronto. The better offensive team getting nice plus money. This is definitely what I would call a live dog. The exact opposite of Arizona. This is a live dog, one of the better teams in the league in a bounce-back spot, Toronto plus money.
So there have been 2 fairly big steam moves, wise guy moves in MLB. One overnight, one this morning. The one this morning I want to talk about right now because we're seeing money pouring in on Boston as we speak. And the sharpest books, the line's going the highest. So lots of support for Eovaldi and the Red Sox in the markets. That one, first pitch, less than an hour from now. But the other one that we've seen the big move on is this game that we're talking about, where, this was as low as minus 120 at the open last night. Now we're seeing minus 165s, minus 170. I see a minus 177 on the WagerTalk Live odds screen. What do you think of all of this money coming against Berríos? I know he was rough in the opener. I know certainly last year, there were questions as to whether Toronto should pay Ray or pay Berríos, and, they paid this guy, not that guy. Are you worried at all that the betting markets are seeing something about a supposed top of the rotation starter that maybe isn't at that level right now?
Yeah, if that's the case, you would expect, a little bit of over money as well, right? If that's the pure reason why. And what's interesting, Teddy, is this total's actually dropped. I saw it as high as 8.5, and it's now 8 to the over. So my first thought was that Guerrero's out or some key injuries, for the Blue Jays. So we'll keep an eye on that to see if somebody knows something, but I'm not seeing that right now in the injury report. I am concerned about Berríos, but as I said, I'm concerned about Garrett Cole. And I definitely don't want to kind of lay this kind of price. Now, he did bounce back after some bad outings last year when they started cracking down on the sticky substance. But he had a lot of bad outings, and he was definitely subpar the rest of the season. And he showed me nothing on opening day. So I am concerned about Berríos, but I'm as concerned about Cole. And I think we're getting the better team, definitely the better offense, and probably the better team still at plus money. And I was a little surprised by that move. It almost made me think some key players are out, but I haven't seen that yet.
Steve Merril, everyone. Steve, everybody knows verbatim how great you are in the NBA. You've been outstanding for years. You've got a system for the playoffs that gives you wood. Anything for tonight real quick?
Still working on tonight's card. A lot of daytime baseball. Not sure we're going to have anything there, but there's some night games I'm digging into. And we do have 2 NBA playoff games tonight, looking at something there. And just for you, Prez, I've got some extra Arizona Diamondback hats if you want to get on board with a 100-loss team this season.
Yeah, why do you have that hat? And it also looks like it's lost its shape.
It's a new hat. Brand new for you. Actually, this one's been used, but I've got a couple others.
Oh.
I coached the D-backs
This
last
one's
fall,
been
so
used? You bought a used hat?
I didn't buy any of them, man. I coached the D-backs last fall, so I've got extras.
Oh, you coach a kids' baseball team?
Coach several teams. That's why I'm an expert.
Oh,
you coach
wow.
8, 9, 10-year-olds. You learn the sport.
So I coached my daughter's team. She was, I think, 12 years old, give or take at the time, her soccer team. I got kicked out of coaching. I lasted 3 games. I sat the girls down at the beginning of the season and I said, I'll do whatever you want. Do you want to have fun and lose, or do you want to win? Whatever you choose as a team, we will do. They all chose win. They did not tell their parents about that choice. So I did what I was supposed to do. I got them to win every game we played. But the parents were unhappy with the rotation of the children in our game. Anyway, that's a different story. Steve, get out of here, my brother. Thanks for coming on, man. We absolutely love you. Teddy, get your chops ready. Big game breakdown coming. Real quick, I got to answer a question. One of our listeners, Casey Claiborne. Prez, Tokyo Brandon's picks are money. How do I get his Japanese baseball picks? Are they in his KBO package? I don't know. Email customer service at WagerTalk. They'll take care of you, but my guess is they are in his package. And you are right. Tokyo Brandon is money. Teddy Covers, you ready? 15 seconds, brother.
Baseball is back, and we want to celebrate by slashing the cost of any daily picks packages. That includes a baseball play by 50%, including 5% best bets. This amazing promotion runs from Thursday, April 7th, when 18 of the 30 MLB teams take part in opening day, to midnight on Wednesday, April 13th, and you can get $25 daily packages for $12.50, $29 daily combo packages for $14.50, $35 5% best bets for $17.50, and $39 5% best bet combo packages for $19.50. Whether you never bet on MLB or just like discounts, save 50% on baseball picks for the entire first week of the baseball regular season.
Time for today's big game breakdown. Let's talk some NBA play-in game action for tonight. The San Antonio Spurs traveling to New Orleans to take on the New Orleans Pelicans. Right now, looking at the WagerTalk live odds screen, I'm seeing New Orleans pretty much 5.5 across the board. Total has been bet down, like both totals have tonight. 224, the prevailing number. A lot of support for San Antonio in the marketplace. Everyone I haven't talked to anyone that likes New Orleans. You look at the consensus numbers, the Spurs are a public dog this evening, and you can understand why. I mean, it's San Antonio Spurs. They've been champions. Everyone knows Pop. You ask your average fan, name me 2 Pelicans. Who's the Pelicans coach? Zion? Exactly. Let's talk about San Antonio for a minute. All right. This is a 34-48 team. All right, 14 games under 500. They're going on the road for a one-and-done playoff game. There's basically zero playoff experience on the roster. They lost their last 3 after clinching. Yeah, this team's proven they can win on the road, but this is not a team that we trust to get stops. This is not a good team. This is not a playoff veteran team. They're scrappy and resilient. But let's be honest. Pop's team doesn't have all that much. I don't see them winning this game. Willie Green's got something in New Orleans, all right? The Pels started 1-12. They're above 500 since. So talking about a team that's 14 games under 500 versus a team that's above 500 since that lousy start. New Orleans is a big 3. Ingram and Valanciunas and McCollum, that's a big 3. They've got defensive stoppers, defense when it matters, and Herbert Jones, who's been a great rookie, Jose Alvarado, another one. They've got energy guys, 3 good energy role players, and Nance and Hayes and Devontae Graham. And they have a home court edge that I think is going to be worth something tonight, like Minnesota's was last night. The T-Wolves' fourth quarter run was buoyed by the crowd for a young team that doesn't have the playoff experience. Home court can matter at this time of the year. Certainly did last night, and I think it will tonight as well. Not a lot of support, again, amongst the bettors that I talk to, amongst the public for New Orleans, and yet this line's gone from 5 to 5.5. Wise guys know who the right side here is. New Orleans minus the points. There's your big game breakdown. Back to you, Mr. Prez.
Teddy, before we bring Tony in, did you watch Patrick Beverley lose his crap last night?
I did.
Can you explain why? I mean, wasn't he on the Raptors when they won it all? Like, surely a guy can't cry hysterically and act like, the war, he literally just won $1 billion when all they did was make the playoffs. I mean, what am I missing? Did I miss something?
Yes, you missed a bunch of things, but let's start with this. Patrick Beverley is unique. He's Dennis Rodman unique. You know what I mean? He's a very intense individual who has created enemies across the league. You want him as your teammate. You do not want him on the other team. He's a pain in the ass. All right, and he's nuts. All right, but the Clippers had Patrick Beverley last year, and they made a decision they were going to go in a different direction. So there's certainly some animosity there against his former team. He has many former teams, but this is the most recent former team, and it made all the difference down the stretch last night. And I got this handicap dead wrong, Prez. I thought the Clips, as the mature team, the playoff veterans, would be able to handle the fourth quarter. I said in a tight game, I want the Clips the last 5 minutes. I think they'll be the better executing team. And they weren't. They fell apart down the stretch. And Minnesota made all the shots that counted.
Teddy, man, Minnesota playing Memphis coming up. That's going to be, those could be your overs, Teddy. Those could be, who the hell is going to play defense in that game? Anyway, let's bring Tony Finn in. Tony, I'm really excited to have you on with us. Nice hoodie, dude.
Thank you. Yes, you gave these to me about 10 years ago.
I like your glasses, Teddy.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to finish up on that thought with Minnesota and Memphis. Before we get to Tony, because you're like, this is the over series. This is the over series. I'm not buying that. Grizzlies play defense. Minnesota at home, as we saw last night, plays defense. And we're going to see totals in the, obviously, well in the 230s in that series. I don't know that I'm betting overs in Minnesota, Memphis. I would expect that the Grizzlies defense, the Grizzlies have a playoff defense. In Minnesota, we saw playoff defense last night down the stretch. not catching,
Yeah,
catching those overs.
You're right. That defense last night, Tony, I don't know if you watched it. Outstanding. Right at the end there. And Patrick Beverley with that steal or that tip around, that was probably the key play of the entire matchup. Tony, I know we're talking some baseball and tonight's Charlotte Atlanta game, but you think Minnesota's got an upset chance here? I mean, this team is loaded with some young, skilled players.
Well, they can. I thought what you saw last night was the epitome of who Minnesota is, and Teddy even mentioned it. And that is that when the Timberwolves at home, they play with that kind of intensity. They don't play with that intensity is absent. It's too many times for a group this talented that they can score, play defense if they want to. It seems they're one of those teams I think that can turn it on and off. The problem is, when are they going to turn it on? When aren't they going to turn it on? And you're not supposed to be that way this time of the year, So we'll see.
Tony Finn, everybody. You can find him at WagerTalk.com. Tony, congratulations on a great start to the baseball season. 6-1 to begin. I hope you keep it up. Seattle Mariners, Chicago White Sox, Keuchel versus Ray, -105 for the White Sox, a total of 9. How do we bet this game?
Well, I looked at this game when I saw the matchup. I said I really want to dig deep, and what I found is what I thought I'd find, and that is that Ray is we saw it in the season opener, or his debut at least, and that is that he's going to be that pitcher. I never thought he was going to be a Cy Young pitcher. I knew he had talent, but I knew he's inconsistent. Long story short on that one is that he's head and shoulders better right now than Keuchel ever was. But Keuchel's not even 50% of the pitcher he was when he won a Cy. Not 75% of the pitcher, 25% of the pitcher when he won a Cy. And for the most part, you'll hear guys say, "Listen, I'm not stepping in front of the White Sox with a left-handed starter on the mound, at least the opposing starter on the mound. I'm not going to do it." And this is a situation where you do. If you look at Ricky Ray's numbers against the White Sox, they're pretty good, darn good too. The only way to bet this would be to play the Mariners as a small dog. At least last night, I haven't looked this morning, but last night they were -115.
So, Tony, your screen has frozen. While I'm talking, why don't you take a minute to refresh it, and we'll shift our focus to the Charlotte-Atlanta game in the NBA this evening. We've seen a fair bit of Hawks money come over the last 48 hours. This line opened 4.5. Now I'm seeing 5.5s across the board, and a total that opened as high as 240.5. Now looking 235, 235.5, 236 out there. On the total. The Hawks made a deep playoff run last year. Are they even going to get into the playoffs this year? What do we do with Atlanta and Charlotte?
Well, Teddy, I would ask you the same question. I was asking you this: Is this deja vu? Because I thought what the Hawks did last year in the playoffs was a bit of an anomaly or an aberration to a degree. As soon as they stepped on the court, as soon as someone told them it's postseason time, they stepped up and did what teams do or should do all season long. They did in the playoffs. So I would say this: I think the Hornets are a tough, difficult matchup for the Hawks simply because they're almost identical. At least I think that the number in this game it should be a pick-em. I don't care where they're playing. Home court this year, I gave it 2 points. But for the most part, Atlanta just refuses to defend. I know they can do a better job defending than they've done this season. We saw it last year in the playoffs, and that got them to the title game, right? Not this year. I don't see them getting there. In fact, it's going to be tough for them to even be a part of this bracket, I believe.
Tony Finn, everybody. Tony, awesome stuff. Again, 6-1 start to the baseball season. Thanks for joining us, man. We'll see you every couple of weeks on WagerTalk Today. Take care of yourself. Keep winning. Keep rocking. Keep rolling. Teddy covers. Yeah, go ahead, Tony.
No, enjoy the spring or summer coming up pretty fast. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, dude. I'm opening my pool within 2 weeks. Art DiCesare! Art, we missed you last week. Excited to have you with us, man. How are you, brother?
Art's frozen.
I think Art is frozen too. Well, Teddy, it's winter time for Wager Talk today. Winter is coming. What do you think of the hoodie?
Looks lovely.
It's got like nice underneath. Yeah, we're having art issues, Teddy. It happens, and we have to move Art. Oh, there he is. I see Art. We got movement. Art DiCesare!
What's up, boys?
I know how much you love how loud I am, Art. So I really give you everything.
It's phenomenal at 9:30 in the morning, let me tell you.
Yeah, baby. So we need to move days for you, right? Next week we're gonna have to move you days. I'll reach out on DM and we'll figure it out.
We're gonna have to figure it out. Yes, this will be my last Wednesday morning appearance.
Yeah.
So
but
are you at
last
the Westgate SuperBook right now? Are you at work right now?
I am. As you can see behind me, I got the lights and everything. Yeah, I am at work. I'm actually sitting in the clubhouse.
Yeah, and we're going to have to update that graphic because I believe, I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about this on air, but I'm going to anyway. You just got a promotion, Art. Congratulations, my friend.
I did. Thank you. I appreciate it.
And you're moving on up in the world. So
yes, you can talk about it. It's all good.
Moving forward. But anything you want to say?
Yeah, I mean, it's I did. I got moved into the risk room. So I've been in the risk room the last couple weeks, and moving forward, that's going to be my title. I'm going to be a risk manager supervisor. So
awesome.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
So you supervise the risk manager?
I'm a risk manager supervisor.
Okay. So no comma after manager. It's just risk manager supervisor.
Exactly.
Well, congratulations, Art. And honestly, it couldn't have happened to a better guy. I mean, we've been with you now for a couple of years on the show, and we're seeing the trajectory of your career from the link to the Westgate. Now you're a manager and a supervisor while looking at risk. Congratulations, dude. Teddy?
Yeah, I want to ask you, I don't know if you're allowed to talk about all your job descriptions, but talk about what a risk manager does at the Westgate SuperBook. What are your, I don't know how much you're allowed to say, but give us an overview about what your new responsibilities include.
Well, I mean, I'm part of setting and moving the lines. I mean, basically, it's as simple as that. So, I'm going to learn from a lot of the, veteran guys back there like Jeff Sherman and Ed Salmons, guys who've been around the business for a long, long time. So
Legend.
I'm just very, very excited to hop in with those guys and soak in everything they have. So, it couldn't have happened at a better time. Obviously, this is kind of the slow season, so it's good kind of to get in now, get my feet wet, and as in the next 3, 4, 5 months, we'll have football coming. So this is a great time to start, and I'm going to learn a lot from those guys. I've already learned a lot from them in 2 weeks. So this is like, I might not be showing how excited I am, but I am. This is a really great opportunity for me, and I've been so happy to work at the Westgate. They've been so wonderful to me. So it's, very excited to get started.
All right, I can feel your excitement. I can feel it over here. Art, let's talk NBA series prices right off the bat, and then I'll throw it to Teddy. Not a lot of short dogs. We got Boston at plus 125 against Brooklyn, which is super interesting line, but I'm more fascinated about this Memphis, Minnesota line. I look at Memphis and yeah, man, really, really great regular season, but we've seen this show before with these young teams that have never had a playoff run. I think there's value on Minnesota. I'd like your opinion, if you're seeing anything at all worth betting series wise, and then Teddy can take the entire segment over.
Yeah, I'm with you, Prez. There obviously are a bunch of really big favorites in these early rounds, but as far as that Memphis has been so interesting. Obviously, they played so well with Morant, and then Morant's out, and then they play well without him. So they're a team. It's hard to figure out. Like, do they need him? Do they not need him? I think if they're going to make a deep playoff run, they're going to need Morant. I think Minnesota, this is like a team, good for them. They're in the playoffs. They'll have a full playoff series. So, like, they're kind of like ahead of schedule almost in a sense for how young they are. I could see where you're saying maybe there's some value because both teams are young and both teams are kind of inexperienced, but I think Memphis will handle Minnesota, to be honest with you. I think there's a couple of others to look at. The Sixers price is pretty interesting. Sixers minus 185. The Raptors plus 165. I think the Raptors are an interesting, worth a look team. Obviously, this is a team who has a lot of playoff pedigree. They've been pretty much under the radar all year in the Eastern Conference. Everyone's talked about all these other teams. And, I mean, what have you liked out of the Sixers since they've gotten Harden? I mean, there's not much to like. So I think interesting. I'm sure a lot of people will love to take the Sixers. Now, you could parlay series prices as well at the Westgate. So people will probably just throw the Sixers in there thinking, oh, that's an easy leg. So I think the Raptors are a team to keep your eyes on. And then the Warriors, the Warriors minus 220 against Denver. Denver plus 190. Real interesting. Denver probably has the league MVP in Jokic for a second time around. Who knows with the Warriors? I mean, what's up with Curry? Clay's obviously he's come back. He's played this, half this year or whatever, but he's still kind of, coming into form. Draymond was out for a little bit. Now, Denver has no help. They have Jokic and nobody else, but interesting to see that the Warriors are still over a $2 favorite in that series.
Yeah, and I'm going to throw to Teddy real quick. I want to make two mentions. First, it's Brooklyn that's plus 125. I screwed that up. I actually think there's value there. Oh, yeah, Teddy's so happy. Oh, yeah, Prez screwed it up. I think Denver might be the bet in the first game. I think if you take Denver on series price with Curry in or out or slightly injured, you might be able to get a nice middle in that series. Teddy, I'm an amateur compared to you, bro. Show us how it's done.
Yeah, please don't try to lead NBA discussions.
Yeah.
When it comes,
I won't, Teddy,
because it's fairly unique what we're looking at with these money lines. In fact, I've been in Vegas. This is now my 24th NBA playoffs or whatever it is, and I don't ever remember seeing 5 first-round series where the favorite is $3 or less, and that's where in the $3 or I guess the Grizzlies are minus 370. Sorry, but the Jazz are $3 or less. The 76ers are $2 or less. The Warriors in that 220 range. The Nets Celtics in the minus 145 range. This is very unique for the NBA. Most of these first round series are priced like the Bucks and the Bulls, minus 1,200 plus 800 or whatever you have.
Yeah.
Plus 750 at the Westgate. Are bettors paying attention to the unique nature of these first round matchups being more competitive this year? Have we seen any interest in the marketplace from a series price standpoint towards any of these shorter dogs?
Well, Teddy, obviously we got a couple days till a couple of these series tip off, so nothing like of note yet, but I think something that I kind of mentioned before about the parlays, like, in years past, like you said, you were basically parlaying a bunch of minus 900s and above. So I think this year you'll be able to kind of find ways to parlay 2 or 3 of these series prices that are a lot shorter than normal, like you mentioned, because most of them normally fall into the Bucks Bulls category. I also think it just goes to show you, outside of the Suns, and the Suns had a great year, like the NBA is kind of wide open. Like there really hasn't been a dominant team. I mean, just look at the East. The East all year back and forth. Miami, Boston, Milwaukee, the Sixers up there. So I think it really is an open season, and really anyone can win. I mean, outside of the Suns, who have looked great all year and have kind of, from the get-go, been the best team in the league, I think the series prices show you how tight the NBA is this year. So I think it's going to be a fun, exciting playoff. I've talked about this a million times on this show. The NBA is such a growing market. Not that it's just there. Like, people bet the NBA. Every night people are in the NBA. We had, last night, and we'll do it tonight for the games. We have in-game for these type of games. So people like to bet the in-games during this. So it's going to be a lot of fun when you can do all sorts of different things with these playoffs, not only series, but now you got the playing games, the in-games, all that type of stuff. So a lot of NBA action coming here in the next couple of weeks.
Did you see how good our team is behind the scenes? The graphics guys just switched it. Switched your graphics so you now reflect your new title, Risk Manager Supervisor. Great stuff behind the scenes, guys. We appreciate it. Art, let's get into some actionable information for today for bettors. Start with the NBA. What are we seeing for the 2 games tonight? I know we've seen under money, and I know that we've seen Hawks money. Talk about how much under money and how much Hawks money we've seen and what you expect moving forward in terms of betting action in the association for Wednesday night.
Well, for me, that was the big thing that jumped out in both games was the under money. Both games went under last night, so I think bettors are looking at it, okay, these games are going to have playoff feels. Obviously, these 2 games tonight have high totals, started pretty high. Hawks game 239.5 here, now 235.5, so good under money. Hawks as well, open the Hawks 5, now 5.5, so good Hawks money. We'll be rooting for the over and the Hornets, so we'll be looking at that in this game. And then the second game, the Spurs-Pelicans, total not really that, or I'm sorry, the spread, not really that much. We opened at 5. It did reach 6 for a second. It's now settled back to 5.5, but, under money, big time. 230.5, now 224, so real good under money coming in on that. Once again, I think that's bettors feeling. These are going to have playoff feels. Both games went under last night. Maybe this is another thing where 3 or all 4 of these games go under. So right now, the big liabilities in both games are on the under.
Let's talk a little MLB for Wednesday. Lots of early start action, lots of games getting ready for the first pitch as we speak. Who do the wise guys like today? Who do the public like today in MLB betting action?
Well, definitely, yeah. A ton of these early games. So I'll kind of try to find a couple of the later games where people can kind of jump on some of the things that have happened. Blue Jays, Yankees. Blue Jays early on have been the most bet on team. People have taken the Blue Jays basically in every game. They've been a team, I think, all year that are going to be a bet on team. Obviously, they were a team that were the favorites to win the AL East. Not so much today. I think Cole in his second start, people feel Cole will have a better second start. We open Yankees minus 143. It's now 165. So early Yankee money has come in there. And then Seattle at the White Sox. It was kind of like a pick 'em early on, kind of either way, but it's kind of slightly shaded towards the White Sox now. We got the White Sox minus 118. So, early money is coming on that White Sox game at home against Seattle.
Art DiCesare, at ArtDice21, everybody. That's his Twitter handle. So good on Twitter. Art NHL, only 3 games tonight. All big favorites here. Columbus over Montreal, the Avs over the Kings, and the Rangers, Philadelphia. Super interested to watch how Philadelphia bounces back from a just humiliating loss yesterday. Any NHL picks for us?
No, but I'm with you on that game as well, Prez, because obviously the Rangers played last night in a game that I'm not going to say it was going to really decide the division. I think Carolina's going to end up winning the division. But, the Rangers were sitting there thinking, hey, we got a shot here. We got 2 more with Carolina. Obviously, one of them was last night. Tight game all the way until late in the third period. So how do the Rangers bounce back? They're in the playoffs. Yeah. Maybe now do they feel, okay, we're done with the division. Maybe we don't have a shot now. They're a big favorite. Like you said, the Flyers got blasted last night against the Caps. So it'd be interesting to me as a Ranger fan and a guy who's thinking, do the Rangers kind of run this out or do they start resting people? Probably Igor doesn't play tonight. What's going to go on? So big favorite against a bad team. But, it would be interesting to see what the Rangers do and if they pick themselves off the mat against a really bad Flyers team. But you got to lay $2.
Yeah, hey, brother, we had a plus 380 win last night with Buffalo over the Leafs, so certainly could happen. And yeah, Turking is out tonight. Georgiev is playing in goal for the Rangers. That's it, bro. What an outstanding segment. I'll reach out to you and figure out when you're coming on next. Anything to promote?
Well, as always, guys, it's just a pleasure to be here. I was sorry that I couldn't be on the last couple times, but yeah, listen, it's playoff basketball and, baseball started. NHL playoffs are going to start pretty soon. Just come down to the Westgate, guys. Listen, I might be in the back now, but if you're ever down here and need me, you can always ask for me. I'll always pop out from the back. I'll be able to say hi, help you with whatever you need, get you set up with whatever you need as far as the app, drink tickets, seats, anything. You can still come ask for Arthur DiCesare. I'll be more than happy to help you guys with whatever you need. So I am still there to cater to any of the bettors or any of the customers. So don't feel like you can't ask for me.
Everybody asks for you, Art. I mean, there are people asking for Art at the Aria Sportsbook. Art DiCesare, man, awesome job. Guys, it's time. We got our likes. Let's go, Daily Presidential Adress! Three and 0 yesterday in our Daily Presidential Address picks. Two of them were dogs on an 8 and 0 NHL run in these Daily Presidential Address picks, but I did lose my NHL play for my clients last night. I was on Nashville in regulation. They outshot San Jose 2-1. Just couldn't get it done. 4 goal posts, a goal that was turned back. It was the right call. And the great thing is, winning the 3 Presidential Address plays was important to me. I'm feeling it. I'm in the zone in hockey. I can't go 4-0. I picked the wrong one for the clients yesterday. What can you do? But I'm still on an absolute monster of a run. 26 wins, 10 losses, 34 wins, 15 losses. These are big, big numbers. And I have a very rare 2-pack tonight for my clients in hockey. As for your free bets tonight, let's go. Montreal playing Columbus, you got to take the over in this game. Columbus is playing to the over almost every night. This team can score. Montreal, I mean, they're playing a goaltender that's 4th string, if you will. They also just are done with the season. I don't expect them diving in front of shots all night. Take over the total of 6.5. New York Mets playing Philadelphia Phillies. I like under the total of 8.5 in this game. That's under the total of 8.5. Steve Merril was on WagerTalk Today, everybody. He talked about the Houston Astros around -160. I could not agree more. I know there's a lot of juice there, but it's worth doing Houston on the money line as my third pick. This pick doesn't count, but there's a ton of value on the Blue Jays tonight. Anytime you can get them at +150 or over, I don't care if their pitcher, Cy Young, is pitching himself. I would take that bet. That's it for me. Teddy, I'm having a Caesar salad with Cajun chicken on top. Take us home, my brother.
I'm very excited to hear about what you're having for lunch today, Prez. Nonetheless, I'm sure our audience is as well. We want to thank all of you for taking time out of your busy day to hang out with Prez and I, like we do every weekday, 9 a.m. here on the left coast, noon for you back east. I want to thank Art DiCesare and congratulate him on his promotion. Of course, Steve Merril and Tony Finn as well. I want to thank you guys just for being you. We'll do it again tomorrow, 9 a.m. here on the left coast, noon back east. Between now and then, enjoy the games and good luck.
The NBA playoffs start April 16th, and with the play-in games, there are now 20 teams vying for the NBA championship. The 2022 playoffs give you up to 9 weeks of action, with game number 1 of the NBA Finals not even tipping off until June 2nd. Last year, the NBA playoff package was listed for $249, but we've made it even better this year by lowering the entire 9-week playoff package to $199. While the early bird catches the worm may be a cliche, but it holds true to this incredible offer. The first 99 customers can use the coupon code FIRST99 and save an additional $50 off the playoff package, dropping the price down to $149. That's right, 9 weeks of NBA action for $149. That's under $17 per week. Act fast to use code FIRST99, as only the first 99 customers can use this code.